Hi everyone, this is Professor E. In this lecture, we are going to talk about the computing essentials, and we're going to be focusing on chapter one. So, chapter one is about information technology, the internet, and you. So, this is the learning objectives. Basically, it talks about the information system, the different components involved. So, we're going to go through this in detail. Okay, so when we talk about information system, most of us, if not all of us, we tend to think about the computer as a machine and we forget about the other components that are involved, like people, procedures, software, the hardware, data, and internet. All of these components, they work together to form what we call information system. The computer by itself cannot get the job done. So you need people, users, you need a certain procedure, you need the combination of software and hardware, and the data and the information, and also the network, the internet, and the connection. So the people are the most important components because all of this, the center of the focus is the people, the users. The most important part of any system are the people. So ways this text helps you become a more efficient and effective computer users. Because when you learn about the information system, you are aware of the different elements, different information that makes you aware and makes you more knowledgeable, more effective, and efficient when using the information system. Software. Software is a program that tells the computer what to do. That's basically what the software is. And there are two different types of software. There is a system software and there's application software. We're going to talk about each one of them in detail. But for now, the system software is basically the program that translates our language to the machine language and vice versa. When two people speak two different languages, there's no way they can communicate unless you have someone in the middle who can translate. That's what the system software. So, for example, Windows, when you click on something, when you drag a folder or file, you are sending a message to the computer. So the system software will translate that into a machine language that the computer can understand. Now, for the application software, is a program that basically perform a specific task that people use it only for that specific task. So when we say, for example, Microsoft Word, this is a word processor program. We use it only for word processing purposes. If we use PowerPoint, that's only for presentation purposes. So there is a specific task. Access is only for database management and so on. So we call them application software. And we talked about the system software like Windows, like any operating system like Linux, Unix. So there are different uh, types of system software. So operating system like Windows basically coordinates computer resources, basically manage the resources, how to keep track of the files, how to access folders or files, or how to organize them, how to sort them. So all these things is done by the operating system. It allows you to run application and also provide all kind of help and resources to the user. And utilities is anything extra basically that perform a specific task that helps you take full advantage of uh, of the programs and the computer. For example, uh, a program to help you against viruses. That's utility. That's something that's not part of the computer system, but it helps you take full advantage and protect yourself from anything that may harm you. So we talked about application software. We said it is only for specific tasks, like for word processing, like for database management, presentation, and so on. The hardware. So now we're going to talk about the computer. So there are different types of computer. The first one, supercomputer, are basically the most powerful computers. Only few people use it or few entities, because most of us, we don't really need something very, very sophisticated and powerful to, to do our things. Okay, so supercomputers are not are only for certain entities, maybe government agencies, maybe big companies. And also you have the mainframes computers. So most companies, they use this mainframes computers because it processes large amounts of data. And there is also mid-range computer. Mid-range computer, basically servers that control the network of other computers. And finally, that's the one we are more familiar with, personal computers, like the PCs, like the laptop that we use. So this is only for personal use. So most of us are familiar with this. Okay? So these are the different types of computer. Smartphones, laptop, desktop, tablets, wearables, all of these are some kind of computers. Okay? So there are four basic categories of equipment. So when we talk about the computer, so we have the system units, which is the main thing that the computer has, and then input-output devices. So all of them are part of the computer system. Like input devices are anything that we use, any kind of device that we use to get the information inside the computer, like a keyboard, for example, a mouse, like a scanner. So we use them to get the information inside the computer. And output is the opposite. Any device that we use to get the information out of the computer, just like a printer, like a monitor, like a speaker, and so on. Secondary storage, when we use the computer, we save the information temporarily. But if we want to save them, to store them permanently, we need to use some kind of secondary storage that we use, like, flash drive, like hard disk. So this is for permanent use. And communication is anything that allow us to communicate or to connect computers. We'll get to that when we talk about networking and internet. System units. So it houses, this is basically what you see when you open the computer, you see the system unit, basically all the components that make a computer system, okay? So the motherboard, the CPU, all different types of card, like a video card, network card. So all of this together, memory, everything, microprocessor, so we call them system units. We talked about input-output devices. We talked about secondary storage, communication. We said this is anything that allow us to get, because usually the computers, when you have a computer, you don't usually, it's not an isolated, an element. So it has to be used to communicate with other people. So communication and networking is very, very important. So you can share the resources, you can share files, you can share, printer, you can share all kinds of resources. And of course, the data. Data is very important because that's the basic, that's the element we use, and we need to make decisions. So at the basic level, we call it data. But when this data give us information that can help us, it's called information. That means it is useful data. So if it's not useful, it's just a bunch of numbers and text, and then so it's called data. But when they are connected and help us make decisions, then we call them information. Okay. So different type of files. You should be familiar with some of them. As you can see, documents, like for example, Microsoft Word document, worksheet, presentation, a database, all of these are different files. So you should be familiar with this because we use them on a regular basis. Like for example, PowerPoint is a presentation file, spreadsheet is a type of worksheet, Access, we use it for database, to create database files and so on. Connectivity and the mobile internet. So as we mentioned earlier, networking is very, very important feature to connect the computers so we can share the resources and we can work together to make informed decisions. So the most important thing is the network, how to connect the computers in such a way they can communicate and share resources. So the network of the network is called the internet. So we have like small networks when you connect small number of computers, and then also, it's like you keep getting higher and higher in terms of level. You may start with small numbers of computers, so we call it a small network, and then maybe you have a network at the level of the floor, for example, and then probably at the building, and then maybe a district, maybe the city, maybe nationwide. And then when you have network or networks, it's called internet. And then we get to the forces of technology, okay? So a while ago, maybe like a decade or 2 decades ago, nobody was talking about cloud computing. Now it's a common thing. It's when you save files, when you work at the cloud, it means that computers they have access with no physical aspect. Okay, so a lot of companies now they rely on cloud computing to save money, so they don't have to do it themselves. They don't have to set up their own network and then make sure it is maintained and then make sure that it's working all the time. There is no failure. So instead of doing that, now they are basically outsourcing this to other companies like Amazon. So they do the cloud computing for them. They save the files for them. They allow them to use these resources only when they need them, so they don't have to worry about maintaining them and then paying a lot of money to have them in the first place. And then also we talk about the Internet of Things. So basically that's when you see internet everywhere you go, starting from your home. Everything is basically internet based. Thermostat, for example, thermostat is internet based. Not only that, your car is full of devices that are dependent on internet. For example, the home security, like that we use in our home, it is internet based. So you can access to that from wherever you are. Okay, so that's what we call internet things. Okay, and Internet of Things or IoT. And then finally, we'll talk about there are a lot of careers in information technology, depending which area you are interested in or you are involved in. So you can focus on web developer. You can become a web developer if you are interested in web design. You can be a software engineer. You can be a computer support specialist. You can be a computer technician. You can be a technical writer, network administrator, database network administrator. So it depends on a lot of areas. That's why it's very important to have a general knowledge of all of them, but you need to specialize and focus on a specific area and become very good at it. So I hope this lecture, I hope you find it useful. If you have any questions, like always, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much.